Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And a while ago I did a video on a pair of Lyall disconnect pliers, and I called it Disconnect Disappointment. And many people pointed out that they thought I was using the wrong plier for these kinds of connectors. And in fact, the Lyall ad actually showed the pliers to be used on this kind of a connector. The plier was the Lyall 37160, which mostly, I guess, is used with fuel lines. But I was looking for something that actually fit onto this kind of a connector here, especially when they're way up underneath something. And I kind of was avoiding spending the money on this. This is the Lyall 37960 electrical disconnect plier. And this thing actually works quite well. I'm going to show a couple of different options though. This one here is made in Vietnam. The machining and stuff is, I think, a little on the crude side, but, you know, it gets the job done. But it does have some limitations. As you can see, it's quite oriented, but the way this thing works, especially with that overbite, does allow you to use the pliers to pull on the connectors as well. So it's, I would say, has more features than just the standard ones. This is the Mary HS175C, made in Japan. This is actually my favorite, and I'll show you why. And then I've also got a $10 or $9 and change Jingpin version, super beefy. And I actually got two pairs of these things because I might experiment with grinding or seeing. I don't know if I can bend this stuff. But I might be able to modify this for some other uses. It's pretty crude as well, obviously made in China. You can see horrendous tool marks all over the place, but super beefy. I mean, it's a heavy piece of metal, and it does the job. But these are wildly different if you look at the way that they're all approaching. I guess, you know, same but different, approaching the same kind of problem. So let's take a look at the Lyalls first. I'm, again, primarily working on this kind of connector. So the idea is you hit the tab with this end, and then this controls and places the actual rest of it. So you can see I can literally pull this out because I can grab on tightly. It also allows insertion too, which is kind of nice. Sometimes that's a problem, but it's quite oriented, which means I'm coming at it from the line of the cable here. What if I'm coming from the side? Well, I can grab it. You can see how that ends up grabbing it there. Still can make it work if I can line this up just perfect. If I can't, you know, I might have to make some other adjustments, and it, you know, spins around pretty easy. Let's try the Mary here. The Mary, very simple. Now these are highly textured, these tips here. So they stick on pretty well. But this thing can also rotate around, but the precision of being able to drop this right where I need to without, you know, if you look, I can get, I'll hold it softly here. Look at that rotation. At any point here, it will open. Whereas this one, that's locked in. And there's a little bit of flexibility there. Locked here, flexibility. But as far as trying to get this lined up, I mean, it's a small thing. Just pointing that out. This one, this Jingpin, there is zero texture here. Silky smooth. The only place really on the whole plier, and it's the last place you want it, but I can grab it from all kinds of different angles without any trouble. So for $10, if you don't do it too much, or if you want to experiment like I do with maybe the jaw designs, I might grind some texture into them. The gap here is pretty big too. If you notice the gaps, they're fairly small. So what that means, which is kind of interesting, I realized, especially with the Lyall. If you open this up, say to this point here, look at the space right here, just that amount of room. Here's the Mary. A little bit more. And then here's the Lyall. You see how far out the Lyall has to go? So that's a big hand because this is a big end on the jaws, which means, you know, operating it needs more space and a larger hand, and you want to be kind of subtle with these things. So the precision of the Mary is actually pretty nice, but oddly, this gets right in there, and you've got a huge beefy plier that doesn't require very much handle spacing. Anyway, the Marys are kind of on the expensive side. They're in the 30s. This I think was 29. Maybe it broke 30, and this was 9 something. I'll put links below if you're interested in looking at those things. But that's pretty nice. I assume you can get maybe replaceable pieces or even maybe orient these a little different, but I don't know what I do there. But it's a nice, lightweight, solid. I like that it's spring-loaded, especially in kind of recessed areas. Sometimes you don't have the ability to throw your entire hand around the pair of pliers. You know, if you can see just how big I have to separate those handles in order to get this thing in there. Whoops, right there. Just how big that is versus this. You can see a little easier. Anyway, so there are 3 options. Definitely, I think this has a lot of other uses. And if you're really fighting a dirty, stuck coupler of some kind, trying to disconnect it, well, this one might be the way to go. For the more precise stuff, better condition, I really like the Mary. If you're new to the area of these kind of pliers and you want to start out with something, it's beefy. I can open up this other one here, double check the quality control. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Nice and simple. So they've dialed it in. They are different though. You can see a little bit of difference in size, but for 10 bucks. And if you got a suggestion as to what I might want to grind this into or try to bend it into, I was going to actually grind it, I thought, more like this Mary here. Grind it down and have an inexpensive set of Marys. But let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.